Hopefully the settings for the volume work. I saw an update to Windows yesterday, and it screwed up some settings. So hopefully everyone can hear me now.
Yeah, you do sound a bit low quality though.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. The volume's at max?
Is it taking in the wrong microphone?
Let me check. Wait.
Only for us on Discord, on the stream here is crisp clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just checked, yeah.
Okay, so you can hear me on Discord, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, let's get started. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 531. Why I like Persona, in spite of it being a JRPG. This is by Yahtzee from The Escapist, and I'm glad he's finally being honest with the world as opposed to just being snarky and cynical, because there's nothing wrong with liking JRPGs. There's all kinds, and I think Persona 5 is probably not the most popular, but probably the most well-known past few years.
Yeah.
The other one being Fire Emblem
Yes.
series, and I think Dragon Quest is probably pretty big.
Yeah.
In Japan, maybe not the West, but still pretty big. So,
You've just named every single one that I know of, so congratulations. They must be well known, since I'm a complete...
They've been more accepted. I know when it came over to the West, we had localizations like Dragon Quest was Dragon Warrior. The Persona series, like Shin Megami Tensei, was changed. That they changed their name to Persona, and then whatever the versions they're in. There was a whole bunch of other things and JRPGs like the Suikoden series, Castlevania, all the Squaresoft games. So quite a lot of localization issues and changes. But
the wonderful numbering on the Secret of Mana series that is completely all over the place.
Yeah,
Or just the Final Fantasy ones.
that too.
Yeah.
They pick and chose. Oh, the West won't understand if it's number 4. Where's number 2 and 3? Like, okay, guys, who cares? Just release the
Like
game.
those numbers would mean anything.
Yeah. So
It only means that the kids eventually want the older games so you can make more money.
it's funny because you see how Squaresoft screwed up their entire business by pumping all this cash into Hollywood with their stupid Spirits Within film that just was a massive money sink, and they have to get bought out by Enix. So Enix got control of all these properties. And they said, okay, we're doing it the normal way, just with your properties as well. But then we got a bunch of weird stuff coming out of the Final Fantasy series, which wasn't quite what I was expecting. Like, not X, but X2 was weird. The whole Lightning fiasco, I didn't like any of those games. I guess the online stuff was okay. Then it got bad and it got fixed. And then 14, and then a bunch of others finally with 15 was another weird game that never quite hit home with me. I liked the original idea, the verses, when it was announced, and they changed it again and again, and then it became 15, and you're like, oh, that's not what I was expecting, and it was never quite what I wanted. So, yeah, but Persona has always been awesome since the first one we got. I love number 2. That was one of my favorites, and then 3 was the whole redefinition of the genre, and that's where we got the authentic... I would say that is the face of JRPGs, is the tactical turn-based calendar shonen manga style slice of life sort of storytelling that we had for the past 3 games for Persona. And it just got popular with 5 because of production value and music and all that wonderful marketing they did. So, good stuff. Okay. So, we have today video from Yahtzee, as we said. It came out last month. It is not even 7 minutes long. This will take, well, not very long because he speaks so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So we should be fine.
When was this released?
Last month.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if he's still nuts.
Yeah, who knows? I couldn't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I have a fondness for the Persona series of JRPGs that I occasionally, constantly talk about. For the longest time, I assumed I didn't like JRPGs. I grouped them alongside real-time strategy and flight simulators as genres that aren't part of my little world, because the standard fundamentals of their design aren't to my taste. I generally don't like JRPG-style combat or excessive dialogue or samey...
Does he sound older and slower? Is this like...
He is old now. He is ancient. Like he is in his like late 40s now,
Oh,
I
really?
believe.
Yes. And it is not zero punctuation, it's extra punctuation, where he actually talks like a normal person, at least in regards to...
Also, he has put on a lot of weight, by the way.
Really?
Like he's no longer like the slim Yahtzee that he used to be.
Is he movie bobbing?
No.
Probably.
No, come on. No one can even physically do that without hurting themselves.
Okay. Is he sterlingering?
No.
What? Cutting his own penis off? No, he's not doing
I don't
that.
think Jim did that.
Oh my god.
Oh no, he cut the one off on his head to fix the horrible wig on, but he's still got his incredibly small penis between his legs.
Okay.
No one got that reference. Okay, great, wonderful. Anyway, moving swiftly on to the next part.
Okay. Anyway, he
All
likes
these niche references.
I call him a
British culture.
dickhead.
anyway, he likes Persona. Good for him. Good to know. 4 and 5 at least. 3 he didn't like so much. That's fine.
Okay. Anyway,
plots, or the way all the main characters are almost always cut from shallow archetypes, with the female ones in particular rather blatantly catering to a range of fetishes that always makes me feel a little icky. Is that condescending of me? Sorry.
Fetishes?
That's probably because you're gay.
Wait.
But he is
So
married.
you
and has,
mentioned
like, a kid too.
fetishes while you put on the screen nice-looking girl with big tits.
Is that
So
the-
you think liking big tits is a bad thing?
Well, that's
Yes.
Like
yes,
it's
he thinks
unnatural.
that.
That's
Are you gay?
well, that's the living weapon or whatever from Xenosaga. So, or Xenoblade, right? So
Yeah.
she's a weapon and she's a personality.
She's and a CPU.
Yeah, like so. This is
She's basically Neptunia.
this is a common trope in Japanese manga. You have a personification of a dragon or a weapon or a thing, and it happens to be a cute girl, and that's pretty common. That's nothing new.
His problem is he does seem to have a problem with the female physique,
Yes, that is something that's popped up quite a bit.
which is something that he probably, when he got the feminist mind virus, he had to hate the feminine look, because in feminism it is not allowed to look feminine.
You can't
Because
have
most feminists are butt ugly and they hate every girl that looks better than them, including those with, of course, bigger tits. So the male feminist also has to hate the girls with big tits
really
in order to be the proxy for the boob jealousy.
the
All I'm going to say is, it's fine if you're actually hating big-titted women. More for the real men like me to enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't think the Japanese dislike girls in any capacity.
Oh, there was a recent thing that Japanese women are rejecting feminism because feminism tells them to reject moe culture and big tits.
Really, that's moe or that's the cute the.
Yes, of course. But feminism hates everything feminine, from the cute to the sexy. And the Japanese women, they have enough spine to say, "Fuck you, feminists. We like to be pretty.
But isn't that
And we like to look at pretty girls, and we like to draw the big-boobed girls in our manga."
Isn't
Because
that-
lo and behold, a lot of the big-boobed girls in manga are happily drawn by female mangaka.
isn't that more related to the female culture of being pretty and looking feminine and dressing feminine and acting proper and being courteous
As well, Japanese women still like to be women. They haven't fallen for this brainwashing of Western feminism that tells women that you need to have a choice, and that choice must be what we chose for your life to be, which is you are only a real feminist if you reject having a family, if you reject men, if you hate men, if you hate big boobs, if you and so on. If you hate being pretty, if you hate cooking, doing the chores, all of that.
Well, the end of the day,
they say women must have a choice, and feminists are the ones who make that choice for you.
well, really, because at the end of the day, all it really comes down to is either a woman has sex or she becomes a feminist, and that's it. But it's true. It's true though. Look at them. Look at all the feminists. They're not getting their back doors smashed in by anybody.
Well, I've been rereading, or at least reading the manga version of the Fate Stay Night series, the Heavens Feel, which is the third arc. I just saw it on my manga reading website, and I was like, oh wow, Sakura, she comes over to the hero's house every day to cook, not because she wants to marry the guy, although she secretly loves him, which is very okay. All the female leads love the male hero. She wants to get better at cooking to be a good wife, so he could acknowledge her as such. And she does this every day. So she wakes him up, she cooks with him, sometimes he cooks for her. And that's her whole story. She loves the guy, but she's her secret. She has her own life. But that's her life goal, is to be the best chef. I'm thinking, fine. That's good. Yeah.
The funniest thing that I've ever found about feminism is when I was speaking to my girlfriend about it, and she went, "Oh, I don't like feminism." I was like, "Why?" And she went, "Feminism made women work 40 hours a week in offices for jobs they don't like." I'm like, "Yep, congratulations, welcome to the man's world."
And now
he's like, "I don't like this."
And now all the cost of things go up because there's more people buying things, because a woman now has a job and she has money. And if you want to buy a house and live together, you have to have a 2-income household. You can't have one person.
So now the household needs 2 incomes to be able to afford the exact same that one income
what a single
held
house,
before.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So both need to work now. Thank you, feminism. You managed to enslave women.
And it's not that women didn't have these opportunities before. It's just that they were complaining about male-dominated roles or whatever, and nothing was stopping women from entering those in the first place, unless you were in the 40s or something.
Which is why in the 30s the kindergarten was invented, so that the woman would be freed of having to care for the child all day and could fulfill herself and start a career and work.
And the child can be subjected to Nazi propaganda.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was sold.
Thank you, Germany.
That was Austria. That was actually Vienna.
Well, Austria is usually the start of Germany's problems. So let's not,
Yeah, you can lay that the foundation of socialists. But it was sold. It was sold as a liberation for women. To push them into the workplace was sold as a liberation for women, and now everybody has to work. Great, so free.
And if that wasn't exacerbated by all kinds of things happening in the marketplace over the years, the booms and bust cycles, the inflationary periods, the lack of resources, there's like all these problems that we're facing today.
Obviously, when women couldn't work and they used to run the house's finances, and like the man would literally give the woman the money to pay for stuff and everything like that, and it was like the women literally ran the household. And now women are like, men don't let us run households. We're like, well, yeah, you don't get that anymore.
It's a mix. It's kind of a mess because I know people who, like I said, my parents, my dad knows all the finance stuff. My mom has no clue. She has no idea. They both shop, but it all comes down to my dad saying, "Oh, we can't afford this or we can't afford that this week or for whatever reason." So it's like, oh, they didn't teach. Like this is stuff that everyone should know anyway, how to budget for the month or the year.
Well, it's like my grandma runs the household with my grandparents. Even though my granddad goes out, we used to go out to work, but not anymore.
Right.
Because he used to say to me, "Your grandma bought me a wallet on our wedding day, and I've still never been in it 56 years later." And so. But it's different times. I'm sure people will clip this part and say, "Look at this! They just hate women having equal rights." And it's like, oh no.
Yeah, no. I wish everyone.
Well, thank you for noticing.
I wish everyone at school was taught home ec and finance and investing and how to buy a mortgage and all the basic life stuff that you would expect.
I'm trying to get a mortgage now, and it's just so fucking complicated. And I'm just like, okay. Because I've got to look at a credit score, and I'm like, okay, what's my credit score like? It's like, well, have you ever been in debt? I'm like, no. Oh, well, your credit score's going to be bad. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
just because you've not paid any debt back. It's like, right.
As soon as you guys get a job, immediately get yourself a credit card and buy a hamburger. It doesn't matter what, just buy something. Yeah, just put it on so it's on the record, right? And just say, okay, look, I bought this. I have a $10,000 limit. That's it. I'm good to go. What do you think? Am I good for 20 grand? Am I good for a mortgage at 80 grand, whatever the rate is for the year? That's it. You have to build that up. So it's
you got like, especially people in my generation, especially in the UK, always got brought on, live within your means. If you don't have the money, don't buy it. And now we're now trying to get mortgages in a world where it's like, you haven't got debt, just keep getting in debt. Constantly being in debt and be paying it back slowly. That means you've got good credit. It's like, oh my god, some of us have never been in debt ever, and you're like,
yeah,
great. I've got to try and buy stuff, be in debt, and then I might get a good credit score.
Yeah, they ask you if you have proper insurance on your car. When did you buy your car? Did you buy your car on cash? Like, it's like, yes, we bought everything on cash. We're not going into debt. We're not silly.
Yeah. And they're like, God, you idiots! You should have done stuff stupidly and got yourself into trouble. Like, right, okay.
Yeah, spend the 5% every few months or every year. If you go into buying a car on credit, you're like, I'm not going to do that. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, the banks are weird that way. It's like, you've ever bought with us before? It's like, no, I'm lucky. I don't want to take out a line of credit for anything.
Never had a bailiffs coming around and breaking your fingers because you've missed the payment? No, you're very stupid. I'm like, oh, okay.
Anyway, back to JRPGs with nice ladies in them.
Obviously, I respect an individual's choice to wear lacy maid outfits and go to hot springs all the bloody time. Nevertheless, I liked Persona 5 quite a lot when it first came out, although I only played it long enough to review it at first. I know in an ideal world, one should finish a game before one reviews it, but one can't generally fit 100-hour RPGs into 1 week's work schedule, can one? But on the strength of liking that, I played Persona 4 Golden when it came out on Steam, and ended up finishing that one in my spare time.
You're just weak.
Oh, so
after which I decided to replay Persona 5 bit by bit.
Hold on, that is actually a good point here. If you're a games journalist and you've got to review one game for the week, how can you not fit? What else are you doing?
Well, it's weird.
The more realistic response here is if you're a games journalist and the genre you're reviewing is these sorts of games that on their first casual playthrough end up with 120 hours. Well, Xenoblade 2 is as well. I'd say your whatever thing you're working for should give you 2 weeks at least for that.
It depends.
Because that is just sensible.
In this case, he did not finish 5, but he did, he went through all the details of 4, and both these games are big. So 5 is the newest, flashiest one. So I thought he would have enjoyed that more just because it happened to be what he was playing at the first. But 4 is my favorite just because it's fun. It's a happy, fun story. And all the Persona series are pretty creepy, weird, magical, occult-ish kind of games. But 5 is kind of not as fun. It's still awesome. It's still cool. The characters are just as cool. But for whatever reason, I just like the 4th one the most. I like the memes from the 4th one. I like the animation better than the 5th one. There's just so many funny scenes, and the characters are great. And for me, it really hit home. So for him to say, "Hey, I also played 4, and I went through all of it," it's like, oh, good. He understands why, as opposed to 5, which again, amazing game, but that is like the poster child for Persona because it's so popular. Everyone's played it, but not everyone's finished it. So you either love Persona or you're like, it's a game. It's JRPGs.
Yeah.
in what free time I get at the end of my workday, so I got through it within a short 6 or 7 months, all of which brought on a bit of an identity crisis. Could it be I thought that I actually like JRPGs? There were some I'd enjoyed in the past. Maybe the fact that...
So I don't think this is the right way of thinking. He just happened to like Persona or the Persona formula. It doesn't mean you like all JRPGs. That's kind of silly. So it's like Baldur's Gate. I really like Baldur's Gate 2, Shadows of Amn. Wasn't a huge fan of Icewind Dale, even though they're the same formula.
The beginning of Baldur's Gate 1 is a bit choppy, let's say.
Oh, yeah. There's issues.
That can turn you off because it's also very on the nose in the beginning of Baldur's Gate 1. And Baldur's Gate 2 starts like right off the bat, serious, business, dense, well-written.
Yeah, and compare that to niche games like Planescape Torment, where you're like, what is going on? I can't even follow. So
1 million lines of text.
Yeah, well,
1 million in the fucking 90s. Just so that's not misunderstood. It's not a million just lines on the text, but a million like paragraphs.
Right.
Like
so
that goes over several lines.
There's multiple games within a certain genre or subgenre of video gaming that you can like and dislike. That's totally fine. Not everyone's going to like Persona 2 or 1 or the Shin Megami series or Pokemon or versions of Pokemon. You might like one of them. You might like Pokemon Snap. That's fine. Doesn't mean you like all JRPGs or all Pokemon games or all N64 games. That's silly. So...
If you like Pokemon Snap, don't you have to like crackle and pop as well?
Oh, really? You have to eat it while you play it? Okay.
I'm sure Yahtzee is gonna tell us why he figured he liked Persona in particular.
It's because of the big-titted women.
He hates those. That means he must like the flat-chested ones that look like underage boys.
I think the only big titty girls in the Persona series are the personas themselves, not the characters.
Really? Well, I'm not interested then.
Yeah, they're all mostly the things you summon, like they're crazy gods or the ideas of crazy gods. So it's kind of like folklore.
Well, the only reason that I ever play video games is because of big-titted women.
Yeah, and see, this is what the Neptunia series gets right. Every girl that transforms into a big titty adult girl.
Mm-hmm. It's why I love Red Dead 2 so much, because unknown to a lot of people, by chapter 3, Arthur Morgan becomes a big-titted woman. So,
okay, I thought it was all about climate change, but okay.
No, it's the same reason why GTA 5 was such a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Red Dead 2 is about the climate change. What happens is Arthur becomes a big-titted woman and blocks out the sun.
Okay, that's good.
Ridiculous, though. But anyway, carry on.
Yes.
They're always hundreds of hours long, just means I find them obnoxious to review, and if I can find the time to let them play out in full, then I'm as surely a sucker for them as the most hopeless weeb. Boy, I hope weeb never becomes a slur. I used to say retard a lot, and that's come back to haunt me. So in the spirit of experimentation, I tried out a couple of...
Why? Just say retard. Who's going to get upset?
Because the other SJWs haunted him for him because that's a bad word. You can't say that word because it insults autists. And no, it doesn't. That's all.
Why do people like, oh, this word that I said has become a slur? It's like, okay. Oh, I didn't mean to do it. It's like, it doesn't matter. Just say it. You're using the word as an insult. People are going to get offended by it.
Yeah.
Should have doubled down on it.
Yeah, it's saying, "Oh, you retard." Is not him being, wholesome. He was saying it as an insult. It's like, right. So why is he apologizing? He knew what he was saying.
He's not really apologizing. I think he's self-aware that this is stupid.
I hope so. This is like getting angry at like a meme that says, "Oh, if you're having a bad day, just punch an orphan." Who are they going to tell? Their parents? Like stuff like that. It's kind of like it's a joke. It's meant to make you laugh, guys. It's not. You're not.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is that he has some remnant brain cells from before the ideological possession, And this is the things where, well, why is this word that I always use suddenly bad and was always okay?
Yeah, the PC police are interfering with his cognitive thinking, and he's like, wait a second, why did I say that? Like,
this is going a bit far.
All right.
But it requires really, really big bricks in the face for people to get out of that.
This is going too far in a few places.
I mean, isn't he independent at this point?
No, he's
still working for some company.
Are you looking at the title at this point? He's still an escapist goon.
Oh, yeah. I'm tired.
Well, okay.
I mean, technically, isn't he what's holding up the escapist?
Yes.
So basically, he's independent. So he's basically independent.
No, because he's a bitch.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
He can't function.
He is not realizing his power.
He will never. Like he's a bitch. Like he will never be independent. He can't function on his own.
He controls the escapist. He's just not aware.
That's what
he could say whatever he wanted. For if they fire him, they die. Imagine him doing like paid for advertising slots. Now that if he goes independent, he have to have all this advertising beginning, middle, and end of his video. Talking like Ben Shapiro.
Look at the escapist channel. Seriously, like you look at each and every video, and every time you look at the Yahtzee videos, the zero punctuation ones, they are like tenfold higher viewed than any of the other ones. Even right now, they are streaming with 1.22 million subscribers, and they only have 83 viewers. That's nothing.
83.
No offense, but I think if I joined the Escapist, I could probably be the second most watched thing on there without very much effort.
Yeah.
Easily.
I've been on unknown streams with more people watching. Like tiny channels.
It's weird. I've seen some YouTube channels with like 4 million, 5 million subs, and they get like, they'd still make videos, but it's like 7K, 10K.
Yeah. The algorithm has dropped them off, and they have like burned out on their content. So they will never be returning to the former glory that they got in the previous era.
They don't get the front page and suggested videos drive by people anymore.
Because they're playing the same game, or they're just like not self-aware.
Yeah. Oh well.
Okay. Anyway, back to, I don't even know what JRPG this is, but he seems to be mentioning it or showing it.
It looks like the Japanese version of a synthesis ending.
Oh God. Giant dragon.
This is because green.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like mass persona or something.
Oh.
Persona effect?
So in the spirit of experiment...
What is that?
That looks like it could be a Tales game, maybe?
No. Could not tell you. It's too anime.
Hey, look, there's Wolf shoulder pad on the right. Yeah. Maybe this is the Witcher game.
The Japanese Witcher game.
Yes.
What an adaptation.
I have not played enough games to know.
Yeah, I have no idea what this is.
I never played any of them.
Is this the picture? These puns are not working tonight.
It's a Tales game. Oh my God! Thanks, Ken Kaneki. Thank you so much. I had no idea.
What was it?
It's a Tales of. The Tales of is a series. It's a big JRPG series. But Tales of Arise apparently.
I was somewhat right. Oh God, thank you.
Yeah.
Tales of Arise is that what happens every morning with me?
Yes.
You turn into a white-haired...
The Tales series is kind of like the Final Fantasy things. They don't have that much to do with each other.
Fuck you all.
Wakes up with an eye patch. Like, I gotta go slay a dragon.
I wake up with something, but yeah, could give you an eye patch.
Okay.
Experimentation. I tried out a couple of things like Bravely Default 2 and Tales.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are good games.
of arise, and I think it was at the point in Bravely Default 2 where a princess and a mysterious hero are tasked with visiting 4 temples that each represent one of the 4 elements. I declared, "Oh, thank fucking Christ, I'm bored out of my skull." So that put that theory to bed. See, the only JRPGs I've ever finished besides Persona 4 and 5 are Earthbound and Paper Mario 2, neither of which I'd call representative of the genre. I'm the same with anime.
Why not?
Why not? Why not?
Earthbound is like Japanese as fuck. Just
Yeah.
because of the American setting, it doesn't make it any different.
Yeah, you talk a lot, you run around on a world map and shit.
And the type
And
of
you
humor
have-
that you encounter in Earthbound is just like, yeah.
Oh,
I
God.
don't think like Westerners would understand it.
Ooh.
Like so that.
It's also it makes senses commit seppuku. But Earthbound is quite the. It is turn-based combat, right?
Yes, it's like the most
NES it
classical
was.
form of it.
Yeah.
Well, here's some anime he doesn't like, so that's fair.
Maze, I could never be an anime fan because the
Oh yeah, like I saw one of his recent videos today. It was explaining that the animes that you see here, I haven't actually seen them because I have my editor and I don't look at like the visuals because he doesn't make the visuals for these videos. He has someone else making them. He only records the audio. So someone else makes the visuals for him, and like he doesn't double check them.
I thought he invented this style himself.
He invented it, but for extra punctuation, he doesn't make the visuals.
Okay, so for Zero, he makes it himself.
Yes,
Okay.
he supposedly.
Well, before he joined The Escapist, he did it all himself, and then obviously,
Yeah.
I remember that whole thing when he was taking music that was copyrighted by YouTube. He's like, I shouldn't do that anymore. They had to make that stupid guitar riff for all of his videos. Now they're all the same.
Yeah, to be honest with you, the guitar riff is probably the best part of his videos, in my opinion. Well, it's not the talky bit, so.
I like the imps.
I like the Masterpiece Erase. That's my favorite. Anyway.
The only animes I've enjoyed are the ones that are completely unlike what animes are usually like. Still, Persona 4 and 5 are a lot closer to what you'd call the standard JRPG experience. They even have a distinct...
Oh, wait. You mean Sturgeon's Law? 90% of everything is shit?
I don't know.
So the 10% that are not shit are not like the 90%, therefore it's not anime?
Yeah, he hasn't really
By that logic,
defined-
metal is not metal, and video games aren't video games.
He's sort of like, I only like the things I like, but it's here the Persona series. It's like, okay, what about them? Why? Is it the scheduling system? Is it the relationships? Like, what do you? Because it's a very long series. It's a very long game, and you have to actually enjoy them to get through it.
From his little point of Bravely Default 2, where he trashed it,
Yeah.
I suppose he solely judges that based on story elements, story tropes, and the 4 elemental temples is a classic fantasy shit thing.
Yeah, which is pretty big in Zelda, so...
And so he throws it away because of that, and not anything else.
Yeah, I don't think that's a very good metric for...
So that, yeah, but that thing, that little trope, is not what makes anime or is not what makes JRPG.
Right, there's plenty of stories in manga, anime, JRPGs that have elemental mages or whatever, and that's pretty normal, especially in the Dragon Quest games. You have all kinds of magic that does specific elemental things. Final Fantasy for sure. So it's not just in those, but those are the bigger ones. And even Persona has that too. And they have even dumber names for magic and wind and fire and what have you. So if he can get into Persona, which is very Japanese, all kinds of Japanese references and names, and even the voice actors in English refer to with Japanese terms like chan and senpai, and they don't translate something, so it's like, okay, they're just literal words. He's fine with that. So what's wrong with elements? and temples.
Because it's a trampled out trope. It's a fantasy story with magic. Oh, it's elemental temples. Oh, I'm bored. That's his problem.
Oh, jeez.
Because it's just it's overused for him.
That's like me getting tired of Suikoden because it has a vampire in one of the chapters. It's like, oh, vampires! Yet last year, what are we doing in this fantasy story with 100 people with fates intertwined by the stars that have supernatural powers? Vampires.
Yeah, it's a bit like
that is really a stupid reason to reject and say it's that's why it's anime or something or JRPG. That's not what makes a JRPG. JRPG is made by the general style of the story and in the widest sense the combat system. They have a bit. They have widened their combat systems a bit away from the purely turn-based style. They've like what I see is that they've built upon it and incorporated or tried these hybrid systems very often. What we see in Xenoblade, for example, is reminds me of what Grandia did in its combat system.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I only played Grandia 2 for that matter. Mm-hmm. But you had your random encounters, but you were then in an arena, and you could run around in that arena, and your party members were also running around as NPCs in that arena,
right.
And you could give them commands when they had their their attack thing points were ready, and then they could cast a spell, do an attack, and the enemy did attacks and stuff. And it's basically the dynamic version of the Neptunia games as well, because they do a similar thing as well. They all play on this turn-based thing somewhat, and it's not just this really plain old school Final Fantasy thing. I mean, even Final Fantasy tried to play around with that.
I remember Star Ocean 2 did that as well. They go into an arena and it's real time and it's all one little boxed area, and you could switch between your characters, but the same idea, same style of fighting. I just found out that Little Nemo is on Kickstarter, which is cool. I don't know if you guys have never heard of Little Nemo the Dream Master on
the movie or the video game?
The game. Yeah, I don't know how they got the license, but someone brought it to Kickstarter, and I saw the video. I'm like, oh, that's interesting art style, but animated very well. Looks very cute.
It's ringing a bell.
I remember the NES game being really weird.
It was pretty strange. Yeah, I thought it was fun though, and it's kind of cute. Like I like those games. They're just like colorful, and they're literally dreamscapes. It's like Persona. Everything happens in your head in this magical world, and you can extrapolate from that, and then you go back into the real world, and everything's fine. Like I like that disconnect. So with Little Nemo, you are in the dream world. He starts off in his bed, and his whole room gets destroyed, and he walks into the dream world. I like that. That's cool. As opposed to fantasy and reality just clashing together like it's nothing. I'm like, ugh, that's where my brain goes. I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Kaneki, go on.
Which we see in the Final Fantasy games. Because it's so, like, I can jump suddenly 5 stories. Like, what the, how?
Ken Kaneki said, Yahtzee said he doesn't like anime because it sexualizes underage girls for the male gaze, which makes him a Christian mom.
Oh.
If that is true, Yahtzee is a Christian mom now in my eyes.
Wow.
He's always been that way, though.
I just, dude, have you any idea how much it infuriates feminists when they're all about this censoring women for showing too much skin, calling them Christian moms? They go ballistic. It's amazing.
I find with most feminists, me just existing sends them ballistic. I don't have to add anything else.
Yeah, that's good for you, Hog. That's good for you, Hog, but sadly not everyone is you. And it is good to know. It is good to know what a feminist doesn't want to be called because it's her arch nemesis, and to tell her that, hey, by the way, you believe the exact same thing as your arch nemesis.
Now I'm just imagining that like Hawk is like Agent Smith. He just keeps spreading.
Yeah. all I ever say to feminists is your mustache looks really good this morning, and that's it. You don't have to add anything else.
All right,
Kill him with kindness.
here we go. Persona 4. Why he likes it.
Hey.
Focus on waifu hunting. So what is it that sets them apart for me? Well, I'll tell you what it isn't. The RPG bit. As in the combat and dungeons and actual gameplay stuff. And I know that for a fact, because I tried to...
Wait, so it's the whiteness that you enjoy, Yahtzee?
Oh, right. Japanese people are white for him.
Okay.
I forgot.
It's not the game. I like the other thing that's not part of the game. Like, what?
He likes the fact it's so full of white people. Yahtzee, I knew you were a white supremacist underneath that hat. I knew it.
Oh, I understand the reference now, yes.
Okay,
Oh.
so my guess is that leaves the story, because if the gameplay is what keeps you there for 120 hours. The story is not 120 hours long. So how do you need 6 months to play through one of these?
Yeah, you would
He's
just...
a very busy man, you know. Like, he needs to take a shit sometimes and also eat.
you would-
Bullshit.
Yeah, you would just get your social links up. You would forge the basic, strongest persona you get when you get those links, and then you just go with that. You wouldn't make any of the special personas. You wouldn't do all the side quests. You wouldn't do all the item gathering. You wouldn't do any of that.
You just power through the story.
Right.
Yeah.
play Shin
Okay.
Megami Tensei 5, which, as we all know, is the franchise from which Persona spun off, and which, by all accounts, is much more heavily focused on the gameplay than the waifu side of things, and I really didn't like that game at all. Turns out Persona 5 didn't sell me on JRPG combat, I just liked it in spite of that. The wonderful visual energy and soundtrack carried me through, and the reduced combat difficulty...
Oh my god, is this guy a casual?
Yep.
He's a games
Yes.
journalist.
Yeah.
This is like people liking Final Fantasy VII because it looks good, and like that you bought Final Fantasy VII because the graphics.
This is literally the pretty colours and it being really easy is what I enjoy about it. It's like,
So he's a
well
child.
done, Yahtzee.
He's like-
Fucking hell.
He just JRPGs are not that hard. You have played Persona 5. Does Persona 5 have a difficulty setting?
I don't recall.
Can you...
Is it hard for a JRPG? Is it hard, normal, easy? Is it different from other JRPGs in difficulty?
It's very casual. Like, I would say, like, it's the easiest Persona.
It depends. Like once you figure out that, because you have to do a lot of management with your magic, so you have to get all these items before you go off into the dungeons. But once you figure out that it's cheaper to just attack, then you always have like Yosuke, I believe, and Morgana, and what's the artist dude who has that attack? Those are all the guys you keep using because they do the most damage. So everyone else is kind of good, but not as efficient.
Compared to other JRPGs, how difficult is
it's long, but it's not super difficult because every time you have a turn, you have the opportunity to heal yourself, as opposed to Persona 3, which you had no control over your other heroes. You just had control over yourself.
Have you played JRPGs that are not Persona or Shin Megami Tensei?
Oh yeah.
And compared to those,
this is more streamlined, but like it's detailed. There's all these options. Like Dragon Quest is so balanced that you need okay, now I need to grind for an hour so I can get to the next part. Like it's like that. So it's not like hurting you. Like I should probably spend the extra half an hour and buy a better weapon and stuff like that. Like that's Dragon Quest.
Ken Kaneki in the chat tells me that there's easy, normal, hard, and merciless. And everything besides merciless is really easy.
Okay.
Which is it's not a JRPG, but that was my experience from Torchlight 2, which had 4 difficulty settings, which were all like going through butter, and the last one was every enemy is a bullet sponge.
The problem with Persona is the game is so long that you're like, okay, the difficulty is just fine. You could crank it up, but it's like I just want to like fight the boss under 20 minutes. That'd be nice. Right?
The real difficulty is just getting through it.
Yeah, no, it's a long game. That's the thing. So if
Yeah.
you want the challenge, sure. Like there's optional bosses. You don't need to, there's so many. Like there's always the Margaret from Persona 4. You have the twins Persona 5. It's just there's massively strong. So
The real difficulty is the friends we made on the way.
Oh yeah, unlocking the waffle boy. Yeah, his personas.
The thing is with this, it's like, when I hear these adults, adult human beings, going, "Oh, well, it was really easy. I was able to do it." I just think back to the fact that my son is 3 years old next month, and is doing jigsaws like 100 or so piece jigsaws really easily, and I'm like, wow, a child is doing more complicated things than you are, and it's your job to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And you are so useless at your job. Like, you spent 20 plus years playing video games, and you're struggling with things above easy difficulty. How the fuck do you fuck that up?
Look,
how retarded do you have to be to do something for 20 years and still be terrible at it?
Yeah, and when I was 6-7 years old, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8, so somewhere around that. I don't know when Pitfall for the Super Nintendo came out. That's when I was so scared of the game that I did play it first on easy, and then eventually I thought like, let's try it more. Let's try it on normal, and then I tried it on hard, and I noticed that all that changes mainly is that the enemies have more hit points. What the hell was I scared of? Because I knew how to perfect dodge them from the easy mode already.
Yeah, the thing is, I've always said, easy mode is always what you go through if you've got a brand new game and you just want to see what it's like. When you actually want to do a challenge, you crank it up. If you want to have fun, you've got to crank the difficulties up. It's like, if it's got an incredibly difficult mode, go straight for that. Just
and I do understand if you want to see the story. For a game, if you want to review that as a games journalist, and you want to review that part as well, I understand to use the easy mode. That is, by the way, why it even was invented. There was I don't know if it was Quest for Glory or something similar, a game that released in the early 90s, I believe, for PC, and then had a sticker on it that said, with brand new invention, easy mode for games journalists. It said that was an honest, there was a serious sticker. It was an advertisement. Easy mode for games journalists. And for story-heavy games, I can understand that. But at the same time, if you're a games journalist, you also need to assess at least a part of the game on normal, as the game is intended to be. And nowadays, honestly, on hard, because hard has become normal has become easy, and easy has become brain dead.
It's a little different in Persona, because once you unlock the personas that are really good, like they have the ability to completely nullify enemy attacks or juice up your enemy or debuff the enemy. So it's like you can grind normally and do pretty well and pass the game. Or you could actually grind and get the unlock like these super duper personas, and you'll have a hell of a lot easier time because you're already strong, but now your personas are also strong, and they can nullify. You could one man most of the game if you know what you're doing. So with decent enough grinding, not nothing, but you still have to know what you're doing. So yeah, no, it's one of those really balanced and masterful systems, because you have so many options for personas, which is the beauty of the protagonist. He has the wildcard attribute, which you can swap personas mid-battle, whereas all the other characters are stuck with whatever they got. So yeah, it's a beautiful game. The gameplay's fun, and of course it's very flashy. The production values for 5 were way out of there, and it was so high they had to cut back on the transition screens and the effects for the GUI. It was too much, so they had to trim those down. So it's a high production value. It's like watching Star Wars. Like, oh yeah, this is going to be a really original Star Wars. It's like, oh, this is going to be really well done film. That's what I'm getting from Yahtzee here. He's like, oh yeah, it's it's super popular. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that he admitted that he wants an easy game.
Ugh. Yeah.
Meant I didn't lose a sense of...
So wait. This is even worse. It's even worse. He doesn't play it for the game mechanics. So what's left is the story.
It's kind of weird because Bravely Default...
the looks. He said the looks, the visuals.
Yeah,
okay,
people...
the animation effects. But still, the game, he says the game is easy for him, but he still takes 6 months.
Yeah, like with Bravely Default,
that's just wrong.
he said he stopped playing because one of the levels happens to be an elemental temple or whatever, and you're like, okay, that's corny, fine. But if you don't like the gameplay of Bravely Default, you're not going to keep playing. Like it's so simple, but it gets really cool later on. All the Bravely Default games are like that. So if you don't like it, you're just looking for an excuse to not play it. Oh, the story's stupid. It's like, no, dude, the gameplay's awesome. Story is like, yeah, it's there. Hero doing stuff. That's fine. It's like some of these games, you either like them, like, oh, that makes sense to me, I'll keep playing. Or you like the character, but you can't have one, or you need both to make you care. I can't just... I like shooting things, but the story is so retarded. It's like, no, I'm not going to play anymore. But an elemental temple, like, come on, that's not going to kill me.
No, it's just because he doesn't like the trope.
I know, it's silly.
Yeah, but the thing is, how can you not like, oh, I don't like the trope of this. It's like, right, the trope could be good.
Yeah, but if you have seen it too often, it can bore you. I can somewhat understand that, but it's silly to throw the game because of that. Come on.
Yeah, but
you're playing a fantasy game, you can expect this.
No one plays Xenoblade 2 and goes, oh, this shit again. It's like, they like it. They like the original.
What? What stuff is Xenoblade redoing?
What, the combat?
No, in general, that any story tropes or anything.
Oh, story tropes, I don't know, but the combat I saw, I was like, yeah, this looks like Xenoblade 1. So if the gameplay's not fun, like, you're not going to bother with the game. It's a game. You have to get through the gameplay. So if you don't enjoy it, forget the rest. But I just can't get over the fact that, Bravely Default has a elemental level. Like, wow. So does Metal Gear. Whoop-de-doo.
No, four temples. You need to go to the 4 temples. Yeah. Ooh. Final Fantasy IX had that, but they did it off screen, which I found funny.
Yeah, no, this is like standard shit in like every video game you've ever played. It's got the ice level.
You know what? I felt let down because that sounded like, oh, we're getting to actual real classic fantasy dungeons. Cool, with traps and shit. And then it's just dialogue with off-screen jokes and stuff, and it's basically just a prolonged chat sequence. And we're not getting that because you just have a little bit of chat sequence with a practical joke as 2 characters run into one of these temples, and then you just get to fight the boss monster. There's nothing. You don't actually play the dungeon. It's just a joke, which is fun to do. I was just sad because I like that. Yahtzee. I like the elemental dungeons.
All right. So either way, what we see on screen is how you probably should be playing the game because it has all the best attackers. So anyway.
Flow. It's hard to stay bored at your data entry job when there's a rock concert going on in the same room, but it's still a data entry job. So the new theory is that I liked Persona 5 because it's a singularly good game. The wonderful visual and audible energy that infuses even its least important GUI menus verges on hypnotic, and it's a good story well told, or at least it is early on. But that's what...
Yeah, I'm not sold on the UI. I'm getting confused by it. But that's my problem.
Gets you hooked so you don't mind so much when things take a dip later. I'm confident a lot of people would get into Persona if you can just persuade them to at least finish the first dungeon of Persona 5. It worked on Nick the Editor. The lead characters are so downtrodden by a villain so incredibly and effectively hateable, you can't help but get invested in their very satisfying comeuppance at the end of the first act, all of which goes towards explaining why I liked Persona 5, but not so much why I liked Persona 4 so much as well.
Wait, so you passed 4 first, but you didn't like it as... I'm confused. So he liked 5 more. All right. Whatever. Yes, the first dungeon of Persona 5 is probably the best dungeon and the most involved. That's generally what they do. The first level of any game has the most effort put into it, so you're invested into it.
Yep.
That's fine. The rest of the game is a slog to build using the same formula, so it's always a version of that. But that's the nature of the game. It's very repetitive, and you're navigating a city, you're talking to all kinds of characters, you're getting to know them, you have to do tests, you have to answer questions in multiple choice. Yeah, it's a lot of exploration, that's for sure. So it gets slow.
Which doesn't have quite as good music as Persona 5 and isn't nearly as stylish. I mean, you pick combat options from a fucking vertical list rather than an exploding radial lightning bolt thing. I also didn't like the story as much.
It's because you're a child. You want the chaos colors in your face to stimulate your brain because nothing else does anymore. Well, I don't even know where the lines are going because autism. Thank you.
Instead of the very relatable story about youthful defiance against an uncaring adult world.
They're all...
What the hell is wrong with those letters?
They're all...
Why?
They're
Is there meaning behind those letters? Why 2 of them are black?
All the games have youthful defiance. It's just that's one of the major themes in Persona 5. But all the Persona games are a bunch of kids rebelling against, which pretty much is the story of every coming of age story, of kids rebelling against the powers that be. So, sure. I like the major theme than the minor theme. All right, that's fine.
World that eventually devolves into the standard JRPG plot of using the power of friendship to kill God. Persona 4 is a murder mystery story in a sleepy small town that also eventually devolves into the standard JRPG plot of using the power of friendship to kill God. And while it does have a certain Scooby-Doo charm, it wasn't what I'd call electrifying.
Still better than using the power of feminism to bring down the patriarchy.
Yeah, no, it's a bunch of quirky kids who are trying to get by. They're in a small town, whereas Persona 5 is Tokyo, I think. And this is just a cutesy little story of all these guys trying to figure out what goes on in the TV land and who's killing who. I think murder mysteries are just great, even if they're silly. There's something else going on in the background outside of magical, weird demon creatures trying to do stuff and gods trying to do stuff. So, yes, that appeals to my sensibilities more, but it's simpler. Your brain gets wrapped up in the characters, whereas in 5, there's also a murder mystery stuff going on there as well. I thought maybe I've got that confused, but anyway, no, there's someone who's in control. You have to figure out who's doing that. Someone dies. You have to figure out who did that, and then you pretty much set yourself up to be the victim. It's clever. Like these stories aren't stupid. So there's lots going on in all of them. And 3 is like the depressing, weird, like, oh my God, that's dramatic and sad and kind of creepy. 4 is the happy one. 4 is the fun one. And it's simple fun. It's nothing complicated. So.
All right then. By process of elimination, if it's not the story or the JRPG dungeon crawling, it must be the other half of the gameplay of Persona games, the whole life simulator aspect, where you wander around a contemporary Japanese city, randomly doing shifts of your various jobs and building up your relationship level with all your friends. I suppose you could be right. No, it can't be that, because even the prospect of playing a game consisting of only that is making my boredom gland twitch. While I do appreciate that the lengthy relationship stories lends almost every character an interesting depth beyond the usual anime archetypes, i.e. is the shy one with big tits, I think if I liked that sort of thing alone...
It's not, there's no shy... Well, aside from Naoto in 4, but you can't see her boobs, so...
he didn't play that much or didn't watch that much anime, then if he thinks that is all there is and that no other things or very few other things have characters with actual depth.
Yeah, no, he's wrong. There's no characters.
Yahtzee, what the fuck?
I could think of either of the games that are shy with big boobs, but even
I think
Naoto, she
Yeah.
comes out of her shell and she never wears revealing clothing. So
I think his political side calls people with his sort of attitude bigots.
I don't know. He's got this wonderful game on the screen there that shall not be named.
Doki Doki Literature
Oh
Cup.
God!
Why are the jackets buttoned the other way around for each of them?
Because it's Japan. It's the opposite.
No.
I like how
From
they drive.
No, from each other.
Hmm?
The girl on the left has the buttons on her right side, and the girl on the right has them on the left side when it's buttoned up. It's like, why? It's weird.
Because the image is mirrored.
No.
I cannot
Whisp.
tell.
That is a brilliant
I
observation.
can barely see the buttons on either.
I'm amazed. Like, fuck me. You look at the image and that's the first fucking thing you look at.
Yeah.
Your buttons.
Well,
women,
it's out of order.
two pair of boobs. They're like, the buttons are
Mark.
on the wrong side.
Mark, this is Wisp. She heard about a 10-story silo and went mold.
It might be bolded. Oh, you can clear it for 5,000, $5,000. But there's mold in it.
That reminds me of a story I learned about mold in one of the cottages that I was listening to my uncle about. It was bought 2 years ago for about $300,000. It's sold for $1.3 million last year. So,
Oh man.
No, the same reason why I see this button shit is the same. It's the same reason why the Persona 5 UI drives me crazy.
really,
Yes.
all right, fair enough. That's not why this game drives me crazy, but that's another story which we'll not get into. Hopefully.
That is another thing
Oh God.
entirely.
I'd be the sort of person who likes visual novels, and I only like visual novels if the central characters get their tits out or hang themselves. The truth is, I wouldn't like any aspect of a Persona game if it was just that
because
by
you don't
itself.
like tits in the
I find
first
the
place.
story
You
too
told
trite,
us
the
that.
fantasy RPG stuff too grindy, and the life simulator stuff too anime. So in conclusion, the thing that I like is nothing less than the intersection between them all. I've always been interested in the
Okay.
juxtaposition between the bizarre and the mundane as a theme. What gets me through playing the anime life sim is
So the story that involves this other stuff. This is like saying, I don't like living in this massive house where I have to clean and cook and get rid of all the problems in the house and answer the door. But it's such a big, beautiful house. I like living here despite all these responsibilities. It's like, okay.
Yeah. So he likes the setting and the story.
Not really, but combine them all together and they all sort of mesh well. And you're like, oh, so
So you like the setting and the story and the stuff. So you're just being a contrarian, really.
Yeah, it's like I go to a Chinese restaurant. I don't really like any of the dishes, but together in order, it's like, oh, I had the seafood and then I had the broccoli.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the meal? No, I hated the food, but altogether, I enjoyed the food. It's like, so you like the meal then?
Yeah, did you like the noodles? No. Did you like the sauce? No. Did you like the meat? No. Did you like the vegetables? No. Did you like your drink? No.
Oh,
What you
Like
like?
your dinner? Oh, it was
It's
amazing. Wonderful.
it's like my girlfriend went down on me, and then we had sex, and I didn't like any of it. But all in all, the whole experience was fun. It's like, well, what's you on about? What? Make up your mind. Do you like it or do you not like it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't like it individually, but altogether I like it. It's like, man,
that's
if
like
you ever
saying-
get gangbanged
So you
by
like a hamburger, but not the ingredients of a hamburger.
Yeah, I don't like the drive shaft. I don't like the axle. I don't like the engine. But altogether, it's a car, and I love driving. You're like, what?
I think that's the best parallel so far.
But it's true. How the thing with Yahtzee is he just wants to hate everything, even if he likes it.
I think he rather wants to find a reason to not like Japanese-made games because he's a fucking racist against these white people on that island in Asia, in the Pacific. But so he's looking for an excuse.
Yeah.
And he doesn't realize that what it is that he likes here, or why he likes these things here, is that they're executed well.
Yeah.
It's not just the mix, even the parts themselves are executed well.
Right. There's no major difference between 4 and 5.
There's games that have these,
difference
there are
is-
games that have these mechanics, but they're not executed well, and so they're annoying.
Yeah, so 5 is just the super polished version of 4, and 4 is the better version of 3, and it's more fun and simple and cute, whereas 5 is all of those things combined, and oh my god, it's such a strange reaction to, it's you go to the amusement park with your family, you're an adult, you don't need to go on the rides anymore, but you're with your son, you're with your daughter, you're with your loved one, and it's just the experience of being with them. Even though you hate all those things, you have a good time regardless. And that's when you admit, it's like, I am biased towards something I don't understand about myself. Is that's fine. Just admit it and try to figure out why that's a good thing.
Silver Mushroom in the chat says, sounds like he's saying that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. No, he's outright saying he doesn't like the story and he doesn't like the settings, but altogether he likes it. It's like, well, how can you hate something?
Well, four negatives make a positive.
It's almost like he's making pasta, and he puts the salt over here, the water over there, the dry pasta over there, the sauce over there, and he has them individually. He's like, these are horrible. But then he goes, oh, wait, yeah, eating pasta involves cooking it and then adding the sauce. And then, oh, now it's delicious. Yeah. You're like, yes.
Yeah. It's like, oh, my God, that's almost like what game development and design is. Oh, my God. You have, like, all these things together.
Right.
You put it together and you make a game, Yahtzee.
Yeah,
I mean,
I always say,
add some spices.
I like real-time combat more than turn-based. Sometimes the principle of turn-based hurts me because it's like, this is so silly, it's so slow, and But you know what? There's lots of turn-based games I love. And I'm not knocking like XCOM 2 for being slow. That's usually part of its benefit because you get to plan stuff out, and that's what's the point of these sorts of games. So even though I personally, on principle, don't like that mechanic or that style, I can tell you, oh, this is a great game. It's done so well. And that is what we want from our reviewers. We want them to be objective. We want them to say, even though I personally don't like something, here is a good thing. So he could have easily said, hey, you know what? The Persona system in 5 is much better than 4 because of this. Or the story is better because of that. That's what he had to do. And instead he just said, they're all bad. No, they're all bad. I don't like any of them.
Yeah, and I agree with Ken Kaneki in the chat that it seems to me that he can't come to the right conclusion, cannot say it, cannot bring himself to say it, because the brainwashed dogma in his head, the social justice crap, forbids him to like any of this.
Maybe. I don't know. It's weird.
Makes him feel guilty.
It's making me think, why the fuck did my teenage self ever look up to this guy as like a bastion of knowledge?
That was a really long time ago.
That was
he was funny. He was good.
Yeah, but I look at it and now I'm just like, do you even know what you're even talking about anymore? Because I just feel that he just says stuff and it's like, I get it. He hates the world.
I mean, at one point I used to watch the Nostalgia Critic, and now I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I look back at
maybe I just wanted to see like what he actually reviews, but Yahtzee, I used to like see him like more complex than this.
Oh, well,
This seems more like
18-year-old
he's
a retard. That's all I got to say.
this
Yes.
seems like
Yeah.
he's just trying to figure himself out instead of anything.
I don't see that at
reasonable.
all. I think like he's fallen so deep that he will never come back, and he's
no,
not even
none of them will.
aware
No,
of that.
I mean, yeah, but that is it's what I mean with the trying to figure himself out, but he can't because he has these mental blocks from this bullshit in his head. And what was I originally gonna say? Damn it. Go on.
9/11.
That's okay.
No, that's Hawk. That's
All right.
Hawk.
Fair enough.
How dare you? I would never mention 911 like that. I'd mention it like this. Let me just make a meme. Hold on.
There we go. We'll see it later. Okay, here we go.
Knowing that after my shift at the convenience store, I have to travel to a fantasy realm based on the human psyche and fight a giant comedy homosexual. And if I don't, the world will end. What gets me through the fantasy dungeon grinding is knowing that I'm actually just an ordinary Japanese dude with above average waifu attracting skills. It's the having a foot in both worlds that keeps my interest. I'd probably enjoy playing The Sims a lot more if my house was built on a portal to hell, and every now and again I had to play a few rounds of Doom 2016 to be able to afford a new coffee maker. In brief, that's why I like Persona. I can't tolerate...
That was the story of Ultima 9. Just saying.
So
It's either half of its gameplay.
he likes, like, it's like saying I don't like Doom, but if I had Doom with like a part sim component to the game, I'd love it. You're like, what? All right, whatever. That's what he likes. I don't care. I just want to know what the hell, why, and how that works.
Play indefinitely, so I just use them both as a chance to take a break from the other. It's an uncommon example of something that only works because of all its ingredients working together.
Okay, so all he's saying is I hate this,
Game design good.
I hate this chicken casserole. I hate the chicken, but in this bite, I got more sauce, so that takes away from the flavor of the chicken, and then the sauce is by itself crap. But then I have some chicken, and it tastes better. Like you're going, this thing.
This guy's supposed to be some sort of games journalist.
Yeah, it's
Fucking
like
hell.
the
And
menu.
he's just figuring out, the final score of the game is actually high despite it having some mechanics that in other games don't like, but I like them here because they're actually well made. But I can't admit that they're well done here because then I would admit that I like them, so I need to keep saying that I don't like them, but somehow still I like the game as a whole.
This is
Dude, this is you are wrestling with cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the design philosophy behind Nier Automata, where the guy said, okay, I'm bored with games that are all the same. Like you do this, you have to do this 100 times. So he would make level design, he would do side-scrolling, he would do bullet hell, he would have an RPG component, he had dialogue systems, he had all this stuff.
And he had very boring, repetitive fetch quests.
Well, yeah, the story went in all kinds of crazy directions, and there was lots of weird stuff going on. No, it was fun. It was like the game constantly wanted you to do something different and experience something new. And that's kind of what Yahtzee's saying, but he's going, well, these components are there, but I just don't like them individually. But if they just mixed it up once in a while, I'd like it. Which is odd.
I don't think he knows what he's saying. I think he's just lost in his own head.
It's strange because a lot of people who don't like these games see them as like chores. It's like, oh, you got a calendar system, you have turn-based, this is going to take so long, and ba-da-da, I don't like the dialogue, I don't like the characters. Like, okay, yeah, you're right. It's slow, it's not for everyone. I agree.
I don't like the calendar mechanics in general in any game. But if a good game has it, I may play it anyway.
Yeah,
but in general, I just don't like it because I hated it in Majora's Mask. God.
Right. If you look at
God, I hated that.
Three Houses, Fire Emblem on the Switch, there is a calendar system, but it's not as rich or detailed as Persona. So if you go from Persona to that, you're like, oh, this is I'm the school teacher. I can plan out who does what, and then you're like, oh, this is only 3 or 4 days a week. What the hell? I can't plan out every day? That sucks. So you feel sort of let down, but then you realize every day you have to walk around and talk to everyone and figure them out and help them out and find stuff for them, and beef them up, teach them, change their class, whatever. Like it's a lot of micromanagement, pretty much.
Yeah, and I love Majora's Mask. It's a world that feels so alive because of that system. But I hate that it's so quest related. It's the core of it is one of the cores of the game. Yes. But it's a hate-love relationship, let's say. And when it carries over into other games, I'm scarred by it.
Well, I've never heard of everything being bad suddenly becoming good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. I've never had that.
Strange concept, but coming from Yahtzee, I didn't expect anything less.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like a cocktail. Like there's certain, like think of drinks you don't like that are so strong or whatever, and then you put another element inside, and it sort of dilutes that and makes it more consumable. But you wouldn't want like this drink that has like 6 components, all of which you hate, and they're all subdued, and it's like this is a mixture of everything I dislike. I can now drink it. You're like that's not a good way of looking at a cocktail or enjoyment. That's
unless it's a flaming mo.
Yeah, well,
you need to set it on fire, Smud.
Get rid of all the alcohol. Yeah. All right. Well, whatever. He likes stuff in a very strange roundabout way. That's fine.
Like drinking a White Russian as opposed to drinking a pint of Kahlua followed by a pint of...
That didn't look like any White Russian I've ever had.
Is this his analogy? Let's try this again.
That was a White Russian? I've never had a White Russian that looked like that.
It only works because of all its ingredients working together. Like drinking a White Russian as opposed to drinking a pint of Kahlua followed by a pint of cream. That's all very well, Yahtzee, but when are you going to tell us your favourite Persona 1?
You've missed out quite a few ingredients to a White Russian as well. But okay.
Yeah, I've never made one myself, but
well, yeah,
I love White Russian. When I go somewhere and I have one, I order one, but I've never had one that looked like that.
You can garnish a White Russian with cream. That's fine.
No, but like it's not just Kahlua and cream. There's other stuff.
Right, but it's like he's using the example of quantity over a cocktail, like a whole bottle of Kahlua. Like what? Yeah,
but what he's saying is you just have the Kahlua first and then the cream. But you have to have the Kahlua and the cream together to make the White Russian. I'm like, well, that's not a White Russian. That's just one putting cream and Kahlua.
Yeah.
That's not how that works. Yeah, see, you've fucked up your own analogy by not adding all the ingredients. That's like, a cake, and then just saying you've got eggs and sugar. It's like, well, what about the flour and the stuff? What are you on about here?
Yeah, so I've never heard of a Kahlua White Russian. That seems to be a special thing.
No, you put coffee.
And this is I'm so drained and confused by this guy that how could I forget? Where's the vodka?
Right.
Of course, your White Russian is shit, Yahtzee. You have no vodka.
It's a Russian. You have to put exactly.
Yeah. And the way I got that here usually is vodka, coffee liquor, and then heavy cream and milk.
Yeah. The cream I was saying is the garnish, like the whipped cream. Some people like it, some people don't. And that's when he said Kahlua and whipped cream. I'm like, oh, that's like a weird brown cow without the milk. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't had the whipped cream on top ever. I must say.
Well,
but it's usually like just cream milk.
Every
heavy
bar
milk.
is different. Yeah, some will garnish it.
I love the fact that Smud was questioning my alcohol knowledge when my job involves alcohol.
Yeah, I thought you just drive it around.
No, I have to know how to do stuff as well.
Okay. How do you make a White Russian?
I wasn't questioning your alcohol knowledge. What are you talking about?
Well, I won't question your alcoholism. I would never do that.
Alcoholism? I didn't say anything about that. Holy jeez.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, you don't just have Kahlua and then cream. You have to have the vodka and obviously the milk as well. You have to mix it all together. It's not it's a simple drink to make, but not as simple as just one thing in cream.
Yeah, he should have used another example of 2 drinks that were actually similar as opposed to a bottle of something. It's like that's not the best analogy. If you want to use certain kinds of martinis would be easier. They're simpler.
Yeah.
that would be fair because a lot of people don't like vodka martinis.
No, you got a six on the beach, which is just vodka and orange juice.
I'm just confused that he left out the vodka.
Yeah, I know.
Of the Russian, the thing that's called a Russian.
Moscow Mule. What does it have in it? I don't remember.
I don't know, water.
Oh. Anyway, his analogy, I understood what he was trying to say, but it's like that's not working.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Pint of cream. That's all very well, Yahtzee, but when are you going to tell us your favourite Persona waifu? Oh, for fuck's sake. See, this sort of shit is a debasement of cultural...
On that picture, because I just saw it in chat.
Yep.
Someone asked, Leo Finger asked, wait, where's Naoto?
I know.
Do you think Naoto is a guy?
Naoto is the cutest,
Are you
sexiest,
retarded?
smartest girl out of all of these. Believe it or
I mean,
not.
he likes to say he's okay with the word retarded, so we can ask him, are you retarded?
Like, but can we blame Yahtzee for this? Because he doesn't double check his videos.
I don't know.
Because he doesn't have time for that. He doesn't have time to check a 7-minute video if the editor has done his homework.
And this is only 4 and 5. There's no Mitsuru Senpai. There's no other girls from 3. So
Imagine he doesn't even have 7 minutes to watch his own videos.
yeah. Well, does he even make these?
I mean, he could just fast forward.
He only
through with
records
cursor
the
on
audio for it, and the visuals are done by someone else.
Wow.
I mean, he could just drag the loading bar across the screen and check what images have you used, because it's mostly just stills.
But he's still taking a big dump. He's eating his Big Mac. Can you disturb Lord and Almighty Sir Yahtzee Croshaw?
Okay. Oh, here's the thing. So Yahtzee doesn't like boobs. For one, that is weird. The second thing is he didn't include Naoto. Why? Because he thinks it's a guy, or because he thinks that character is trans?
The
Is he a
editor thinks
transphobe
that.
or homophobe?
He has no idea about the visuals here.
Well, to be fair, there's so many characters in Persona 5, you couldn't fit them all on the screen.
Okay.
So 4 you could try, but yeah, even 4 has a lot as well. But yeah, it's fine. Whatever. I don't care. His preferences are fine. That's the whole the point of these games. You could pick whoever you like and explore their relationship together in a very weird Japanese way. But that's fine.
No one wants relationships, just sex.
Exactly.
It's really cute. Like the way that 4 handled it was really cute. Like especially with Naoto. But they're
If
all very cute.
if I wanted to listen to boring women do boring stuff in a video game, I just talk to my girlfriend for longer. I don't care. I want hot babes doing sexy things with me in video games.
Oh, okay.
I'm only saying this because she's asleep upstairs and she doesn't know I'm saying this.
All right, we got less than 40 seconds. All right, cool.
See, this sort of shit is a debasement of cultural discourse. Here I am trying to be academic about this, trying to pull a game's threads apart to get to the bottom of its appeal on a thematic and conceptual level, but all anyone wants to talk about is which character we think our character would most like to snog. It's Chie.
I knew that joke was coming because he's so terrible
Great
at
pronunciation.
He likes the kung fu meat obsessed shy girl with the bobby haircut. All right, fair enough.
You know what's really sad is the fact that I saw that joke coming a mile away.
Same.
It's like I knew the minute he went, oh, people just, it's a cultural cesspit. I'm like, oh, okay. What is this, Detroit? Portland? Or California? Which
Zimbabwe.
cesspit? Yeah. Oh, I'll pretend that I don't care. Oh, it's this girl. It's like, okay. You could have just said that. You didn't have to care.
Here we go. Razor is right about Yahtzee. Okay, I will watch that YouTube video later. Thank you, Mateus. And here is, yes, that is Naoto in a very different outfit than I recall. Here's,
Wait, is that the person that someone think might be trans?
yeah,
Yes.
her boobs are gigantic. Yeah.
What? How?
No.
She has, what are they called?
A cap.
Not bandages, but they're pretty much bandages you wrap around your body.
She must have been binders. She must have been
Yeah.
unable to breathe.
Here's Haru.
Oh,
She's got
She has
a nice chest
binders.
as well and a big forehead.
Can only men wear that?
These are exaggerated because they're drawn, but anyway.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, and there's Hawk. Thanks, Hawk. That's great. Good stuff.
What was wrong?
No, you got it. You got your 9/11 joke.
9/11.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, I saw it. It was pretty barren apart from disgusting weeb pictures of boobs, and I thought, well,
Disgusting.
might as well just like put a plane crash in there somewhere,
All right.
cheer everyone up.
Anyway, that was different.
That was Yahtzee once again proving he's a fucking moron.
Everything sucks, but together they're good. You're like, okay, sure.
This is like just below the Japanese, but white culture. You're like, what?
It's like the Japanese know what they're doing, and you look at one moving part, you're like, what is that? And you're like, oh wow, together it's amazing. Thanks, Yahtzee. That's fantastic.
I really do think he just does not care about this anymore, and he's just literally been like dragged and made to do this because some of the stuff he comes out with, it's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I don't know if these extra punctuation parts are doing him any justice because we don't really seem to like them too much.
Well, they earn way more viewership than the regular zero. Not regular, but like escapist video does.
Anything,
because
yeah.
for example, like this is like 500,000 views. I believe so.
Wow.
If I remember correctly. And like the other ones that I saw had like 4K or 5K. So that's like the difference.
Yeah, he's got almost 200,000 views on this video from last month, which is impressive. Yeah.
He has like a very recognizable brand. Like a lot of people know about him.
I'm surprised he hasn't done his own thing. Maybe he just likes the paycheck. I couldn't tell you what his payment scheme is. Whether he gets
some people just can't. They just can't do their own business.
I know.
He could just hire someone who does that part for him, and then not
can't
have
even
the
do
lion
that.
share with the escapist.
He would need balls for that.
Ah, yeah, you're right.
Either way, very short video. Nothing of any merit that I could see, but it's all his opinion anyway, so it doesn't make much of a difference. The analysis was weak as hell.
Yeah.
I guess it was fun to watch. It wasn't that bad.
He sounded like a confused video essayist.
Yeah, a little bit.
You sound like a confused old man.
Anyway,
these video games these children play, I really don't understand them. I kind of like some of them, but I really hate them. But okay, yeah, Grandpa, here's your chamomile tea.
I'm playing on easy mode.
Yeah, well. Anyway, check out Persona, guys. It's fun if you like RPGs in general, and it's super stylish. Lots of fun music. Very long gameplay. You'll be in it if you like it for a very long time. You'll fall in love with all the characters. They're fun. They're cute. And the stories are attention garnering. I don't know how to describe them. They're kind of weird, but they're not stupid. That's the good thing. That they're fantastical enough to get your attention and not go, that's stupid. That's still silly. It's like, well, they're fantasy, so they're supposed to be a little weird. So, yeah, guys, keep the suggestions coming. We've had 2-day break here. We could go for some Smud Talks tomorrow or Smudcast tomorrow. I don't know what we're doing. But keep the suggestions coming. Keep the voting going. And we will see you hopefully soon. Have yourself a great evening. Thanks for listening. Good night.
Right.